Hi guys, this is Sadek from Debugging.com, and in this video, we'll show you how to flash the latest crDroid ROM based on Android 14 onto the Poco F5. So please take a backup of all the data on your phone and then let's get started. First off, you will have to get hold of Android SDK platform tools. So get it from my guide and extract them onto your PC. You could extract them anywhere you want. I have done the extraction in C drive and these are the files of platform tools. Once you've done the extraction, you will now have to enable USB debugging and OEM unlocking. USB debugging is required for ADB commands, whereas OEM unlocking is required to unlock the bootloader on your phone. So let's now enable both these options. For that, you will have to go to the settings menu on your phone, and from settings menu, you will have to go to about phone and tap on MIUI version 7 times. You will get a prompt that you are now a developer. So go back. Now you have to go to additional settings and you should now see developer option. Go there and enable the toggle next to OEM unlocking as well as USB debugging. You will now get a prompt on your phone. Checkmark I'm aware of all the risk and then wait for 10 seconds. Once that time frame has elapsed, just tap on OK. And with this, debugging is enabled. You might get an RC key prompt as well. In that case, again tap on OK. So let's now verify the debugging connection. For that, go to the platform to folder address bar, type in CMD and hit enter. This will launch command prompt inside platform tools. So now type in ADB devices and make sure that you're getting a serial ID. If you're not getting any ID, then unplug and replug your phone from the PC. Disable and re-enable USB debugging. Tap on revoke USB debugging. Use the official cable that came with your phone and use the USB 2.0 port on your PC. So carry out this USB tweaks and make sure that you're getting an ID. Once you're getting this ID, your next course of action is to unlock the bootloader on your phone. Do note that it will wipe off all the data from your phone and might also make the warranty null and void. If that's well and good, you could refer to my guide and get the job done using the official Me Unlock tool. Once you have unlocked the bootloader, you could now get hold of the ROM file and the GApps. GApps is completely optional, and in my case, I'm using the NIC GApps. There are quite a few versions of the GApps. So for instance, the core GApps is the one which comes with the least amount of Google app packages, and this is the one which I will be using as of now. And apart from that, you have the basic GApps, Omni GApps, stock GApps, and the full GApps which comes with all the Google app packages. As of now, I'll be using the minimal GApp, which is the core GApps. You may use any one of your choice, or if you don't want, then you may also skip GApps altogether. It's completely optional. But as of now, I'll show you how to flash the core GApps. The flashing steps for all the GApps are same. That will not change. So with that said, you will now download the ROM and GApps from here. Once you have got both the files, let me just show you. So this is the ROM file and the GApps file will be here as well. So just let me verify, and this is the GApps file. So I've got both the ROM and GApp files. So let's now move ahead with the next step. So regarding the download, there is one more thing. Once you go to this link, make sure to click on the downward arrow and then select the crDroid 10 Android 14 build. While it's quite obvious, but still in some cases you might be taken to the Android 13 build. So make sure to select the Android 14 crDroid 10. With that said, let's now move ahead. So now you will have to install TWRP recovery onto your phone. So I have made a separate guide and a video on the same, but still I will show you once again on how that could be done. So let's now proceed ahead and install the recovery. So as of now, for installation, I will highly recommend you to use the Android 14 build of the recovery. So let me show you. There exists quite a few builds for that recovery. There are total of 4 builds, out of which it is highly recommended you use the TWRP for Android 14. And this is the SKK build, as you might be aware, skkk.img, which is quite popular developer in the Poco F5 community. So get hold of this recovery img file, and once you have got the img file, let me show you. You will have to then transfer the img file inside the platform tool folder on your PC. So copy the file from here and let's transfer it inside the platform tool folder, and this is the file as you could see from the skkk developer. So for the ease of convenience, let's rename it to TWRP. And the complete name becomes twrp.img. So let's now move ahead and flash this recovery file onto our phone. For that, you will have to boot your phone to fast boot mode. So type in ADB reboot bootloader and hit enter, and your phone should now reboot into fast boot mode in a matter of few seconds. So let's just wait for that to happen and then we'll move ahead with the next step. So we are now inside the fast boot mode. Now type in fast boot devices and make sure that you are getting a serial ID. If you're not getting any ID, then you will have to install fastboot drivers on your PC. I have made a separate guide and a video on the same. You could refer to my guide and get this job done. Once you have installed the drivers, right click on the Windows icon and select Device Manager. Then expand the Android phone section and make sure that your phone is being shown as Android bootloader interface. So this, as well as the serial ID next to fastboot, signifies that the PC is able to read the phone in fastboot mode, and we are now good to go ahead. So let's now flash the recovery file in the recovery partition. Since our phone has a recovery partition, we could directly flash it to that partition, and we will be using the fastboot flash recovery _AB. With this, we will be flashing the file across both the recovery A and recovery B partition at one go. You may also use the individual command, but that will take quite a lot of time. That is why let's simply use this single command, and it will flash the file across both the partition. So just copy this command and make sure that the file is there inside the platform tool folder, and just rename as TWRP.img. If that's well and good, then simply paste the command here and hit enter, and it will now flash the recovery file onto your phone, and will take only a few seconds. As you can see, the flashing is now complete. So let's verify the same. For that, type in fastboot, reboot, recovery, and your phone should now reboot into the recovery mode, which is the TWRP recovery. Let's verify the same, and then we'll move ahead to the next step. So let's see the status. So as you could see, we are now inside the recovery. So this signifies that the flashing is done successfully, and we could now move ahead and carry out the next step. So now you could flash the ROM file onto your phone. For that, first and foremost, you will have to do a format data. Do note that this will wipe off all the data from your phone and might make the warranty null and void as well. If that's well and good, then go to wipe, format data, type in yes, and hit the blue check mark. Once that is done, go back, again go back, and now you will have to transfer the ROM file onto your phone. For that, there are quite a few ways. As of now, I'll be using the ADB push method, or you could also simply use the MTP. Your phone should be visible here, and then you could transfer the file here via a simple copy paste. But as you could see in my case, even though the phone is visible, but the transfer might take a few minutes longer as compared to ADB push. That is why I'll be using the ADB push method. So let me show you how that could be done. For that, first and foremost, you will have to transfer the ROM file to the platform tools folder on your PC. So let's do that, and once that is done, let's rename the file to something shorter. So let's rename it to ROM, and the complete name becomes rom.zip. Now you may use the ADB push command. So type in ADB push space rom.zip space / and SD card, and the file will now be transferred onto your phone. And this process is somewhat faster as compared to the usual MTP method. So the file will now be transferred and will take only a few seconds. So let's just wait for that to happen. So guys, as you could see, the ROM has now been transferred. Let me show you. The ADB push is successful, and onto our phone as well, the ROM file has been transferred. So let's now move ahead with the next step. So now we'll have to flash the firmware onto our phone. So regarding this, even if you are on the latest firmware, I will still recommend you to flash this firmware. So even if you are on the HyperOS, then still I will advise you to flash it. And if you are on an MIUI firmware, then flashing this firmware is compulsory. There is no way out. But if you are on HyperOS, then still I will recommend you to flash the firmware just to be on the safer side. In short, you should flash the firmware in any and every case. So with that said, let's go to this link and get hold of the firmware file. So make sure to get hold of the file which correspond to your region, and in my case it's the India build. So download it from here corresponding to your region, and once you have got the firmware, you will also have to transfer the firmware file onto your phone. So again, let's copy the firmware from here and transfer it to the platform tool folder, and then let me rename it to something shorter. Let's say FW, and I will once again use the ADB push command. So type in ADB push space file name, which is fw.zip space / SD card /SD card, and the file has now been transferred. So with this, we have got both the firmware and the ROM file, and we could now start off with the flashing process. So first and foremost, you will have to flash the firmware and then flash the ROM zip file. Please keep this in mind that first you have to flash the firmware, and only then you could flash the ROM zip file. So let's get this job done, and as you could see, we have got both the file. So make sure you have already done a format data beforehand. Once you have done a format data, let's now go to install and flash the firmware zip file and do a right click to flash it. The flashing will now start. So let's just wait, and as you could see, the firmware has now been flashed. Once that is done, again go back, go to install, and this time select the ROM zip file, and the ROM file will now be flashed. and the ROM flashing will take up to around 8 to 10 minutes. So let's just wait for the flashing to complete. So guys, as you could see, the flashing is now complete. Now if you want to flash any other zip files such as GApps or Magisk, then it's recommended to do a reboot to recovery. On the other hand, if you want to boot to the OS, then simply select reboot system now. But as of now, let me show you how to flash the GApps. So for flashing the GApps, I will reboot to the recovery. If you don't want to flash any file, then just tap on reboot and your phone will reboot to the OS. But since we want to reboot to the system, instead of the system, we want to reboot to the recovery because we want to flash a zip file. So select reboot and now choose recovery, and your phone will now reboot to the recovery, and it will take a few seconds. So let's just wait for that to happen, and then we could proceed ahead with the flashing of the GApps file onto our phone. So let's wait for a few more seconds. And as you could see, we are now inside the recovery. It's quite along the obvious line that the TWRP recovery will be replaced by the AOSP recovery, which in this case is the crDroid recovery. If you want, you may flash the TWRP recovery on top of this, but that's not required because you could easily flash all the files using this recovery itself. So for that, first and foremost, you will have to select apply update. So in the first instance, the touch might not work, so you may use the volume keys. This is because we haven't yet booted our phone to the OS. We are still in the recovery. After subsequent usage, the touch will work and then you may easily use the touch screen. But since we are yet to boot to the OS, the touch will not work. That's not an issue. Simply select apply update and use the power key to confirm. Then select apply from ADB and use the power key to confirm. And with this, your phone is now in the ADB sideload mode, as you could see. So let's first verify the same. So let me type in ADB devices and hit enter, and as you could see, we are getting the sideload keyword. So let's now sideload the GApps file. So for that, transfer the GApps file. So this is GApps file, copy it and transfer it inside the platform tools folder as well. So let's transfer the file here and let's rename it to something shorter. So let's just rename it to GApps and the complete name becomes gapps.zip. So let's now do a sideload of this GApps file. So type in ADB sideload gapps.zip and hit enter, and the sideloading will now start, and it will take only a few seconds or it might take a little bit longer depending on the GApps version that you are flashing. In my case, I'm using the core GApps, which comes with the least amount of Google apps, so it will take the shortest amount of time. And once the flashing is done, you may then select reboot system now, and your phone will now reboot to the OS. Do keep in mind that the first boot up will take up some additional time frame. This is completely normal and nothing to worry about. From the subsequent time, that will not be the case. So let's just wait for a phone to boot up, and let's just wait for the boot animation to show up. As you could see, it's the boot animation of crDroid, which signifies that the flashing has been done successfully. So let's just wait for the first boot up to appear, and then we will move ahead with the setup process. So guys, our phone is now in the setup screen. As of now, I'll skip the initial setup process and take you to the OS directly. So let me skip all these stuffs and skip this as well. If you want, you may restore the data right now, but I am skipping all this. So it's the theme navigation option, and let's start. And with this, we are inside the crDroid ROM based on Android 14 onto your Poco F5. It has a transparent app drawer, and there are a couple of apps pre-installed, such as the Dolby Atmos for volume enhancement and a game space app. That's good to see. Apart from that, let's check out, this is the QS settings, and let me check out its crDroid sections, and this is the crDroid settings where you will get all the tweaks. So first off, here's the status bar icons where you can enable or disable the icons of your choice. Then you could choose the clock style and date style, the network traffic monitor in KBs and MBs, whether you want to show or hide. You may also show and hide the 4G LTE icons and the Wi-Fi icons as well. Then you may implement and enable colored icons. So by default, the icons will be shown in white in the status bar. Upon enabling this, it will be shown as colored. As you might have seen, the Play Store icon has been changed. So all the icons will now be shown similar to how it's shown in the app drawer. It will be shown in the status bar as well. Then you could enable notification count as well. It will show the number of pending notification. Then you could also enable and show a logo. For instance, let me select a BlackBerry logo, and as you could see at the extreme left, top left, the BlackBerry logo is there. Then it's the Windows logo and so on. You may choose from quite a lot of logos. It's the crDroid, and you may also change the position to left or right. Let me turn it off for now. Then you may select the battery style. For instance, it's the dotted circle, then the battery percent and battery charging, battery bar, tap to sleep, double tap to sleep on the status bar will turn off your phone. Then the double tap should also wake. So this is not in this ROM, not an issue. At least we have the double tap to sleep. So you can adjust the brightness, cool down, and quick pull down. You may choose, for instance, if you choose right, then the QS will automatically expand all the way to the bottom just via a single swipe from the right side of the screen. This is quite handy. Then if you go to the QS tab, then here you can implement an header image. So let me show you. For instance, there are quite a lot of header image. Let me implement this one, and as you could see, it's applied at the top right, and this is how it will look in an contracted position, and this is in the expanded state. Apart from that, there are quite a lot of options to choose from. Apart from that, you may also customize and choose a local image from your phone as well to apply it there. Then apart from that, you have a few other battery style and battery percentage icons. Then brightness slider, you may choose its location as well. Then QS tile style, you may choose circular or styles as well. So as you could see, it's now circular, and well, it does not look good, at least for me, because we are now only getting 2 columns as opposed to 3 columns. So let me check out some other square tiles, and again it's 2. So we can change the number of QS tiles per column as well. If you want, you may do so. I'll show you that as well. So apart from that, you may hide the label from the naming scheme as well. Then there are a number of, as you could see, you could increase the QS tiles and toggles columns in portrait and landscape mode if you want. Let me first show the labels of these. Then apart from that, animation style, you may show an animation when you interact with the QS tiles, as you could see from here. So let me close this. Then apart from that, you have a lock screen tweaks as well. Clock font style, you may choose from a plethora of clock style. So let me show you if I now. So as you could see, it's implemented. This is the new clock font style, and there are quite a lot of clock fonts that will be visible on the lock screen. It's a never-ending list that you could see. Well, the crDroid is always known for customization, so but still it's quite great to see that we have quite a lot of customization tweaks. Then apart from that, you could show the battery info, weather settings on the lock screen. Do keep in mind that enabling these features will lead to some additional battery drainage as well. So decide on this trade-off accordingly. Then apart from that, you have the few navigation tweaks. So layout invert, you could invert the layout of 3-button navigation. For instance, the back and the recent apps, you could switch their layout, and you could also implement some actions on these button tabs as well, shortcuts. Then if you go to the buttons, then you could take a partial screenshot. Power menu, you could customize the power menu option and implement the options in the power menu. Okay, so we also have an advanced restart. This is quite important for me. Let me check out the options. So these are the option of system UI, recovery, and bootloader. We don't have the fastboot D, but that is not required because we hardly interact with fastboot D. So this will get the job done as well. Then you have a UI tweaks. In this, you could control the ambient display as well as the AOD as well. Then next up, you have the charging animation, full screen apps, which will ignore the notch. Then you may enable and disable smart pixel to lower down the power consumption on your phone. Then you may choose from the Monet theme engine. For the unaware, this setting will choose the dominant color from the wallpaper and apply the theme accordingly. So it has some themed which you could choose from, or you could also enable accent color and choose from any color of your choice as well and implement the same. As of now, let's go with the default one itself. Then you could also enable custom color for the background as well. So let me show you. You could choose any color and apply it, and it will be applied. Then apart from that, you have the navigation style. You could select from any one of these if you are using 3-button style. Then these are the font style that you could select from. For example, as you could see, this font style will be applicable across the entire UI and UX of the OS, and not just inside this menu. It will be applicable across all the OS. So let's go with the default one. And apart from font style, you have the few icon packs which you could select. And by icon packs, we mean the icons which will be shown in the status bar and not the icons in the app drawer. Apart from that, you have the signal icon style that you could choose from. There are quite a lot of. Let me see if it has the nothing OS or not, because that's usually my favorite. So you have the nothing dot as well. At the third, you could see then there are quite a lot of signal icon style. Then you also have the LTE and Wi-Fi style that you could choose from. This is the Wi-Fi icon styles. Likewise, the icon shapes are the one which will be visible. So for instance, let me select the bezel, and as you could see, it's implemented here in the app drawer. So let's go back with the default one. And do keep in mind that while you are doing the customization, the system UI might undergo a restart once or twice. This is completely normal and nothing to worry about. Then there are a few notification tweaks as well. So as you could see, the less boring if you enable this, then you will only get notifications from the important apps such as alarm dialer and the messaging apps, and from all the other notifications will be silenced down on your phone. So force stop button in the notifications long press menu, that's quite a handy option. So let's check out. So this is the force stop. As you could see, we have added this option here. It's quite a handy option. Then apart from that, we have a few sound tweaks as well. Pulse settings, you could implement the pulse on the lock screen. So if you play audio, then the same pulse corresponding to the audio graphics will be shown on the lock screen. But again, this will lead to some additional battery drainage. So if you prefer UI UX over battery, then this is your go-to choice. Apart from that, you may also shift the volume panel on the left. So when you interact with the volume keys, then it will come to the left instead of the right. By default, it's set to the right hand side, as you might be aware, as you could see from here. Then we have a few miscellaneous tweaks to unlock higher FPS in games and unlimited photo storage. So by default, your phone will now be spoofed to Google Pixel XL, and you will get unlimited storage in original quality. Then Netflix spoof. So if you use a custom ROM, then the Wide1 L1 certification gets downgraded to L3, and you will not be able to use or rather watch DRM content in full HD. Instead, it will be downgraded to 480p or 720p. But by using the Netflix spoof, you will be able to watch all the DRM content from Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, and all the other such apps in full HD, that is 1080p, without any issues as such. Then apart from that, it's the crDroid settings which you could verify from here. So guys, on that note, I round up this video. If you have any queries with regard to any of the steps, do let me know in the comment section, and thanks a lot for watching.